In recent years, TikTok has become a hub for viral trends and entertainment, but a new study reveals a concerning and illegal trade happening on the platform. Researchers have uncovered evidence of endangered species being sold as wild meat in West Africa, with TikTok playing a vital role in facilitating this underground market. The study highlights how wildlife poaching and trafficking are thriving online, and it poses a serious threat to already vulnerable species. We're unpacking this particular study, finding out about the findings that they found, the implications for conservation efforts worldwide, and also health risks associated to this particular trade. We're joined on the line by Patrice Assou, who's a research assistant and volunteer lecturer based in Togo. Thank you so much, Patrice, for your time this morning and helping us unpack this really intriguing story. Good morning.
Good morning.
Let's speak about these wild meats. It's obviously not something that is new. TikTok itself is new, but the eating and the buying and selling of wild meats isn't that new, is it?
Yeah, the trade itself is not new, but the shifting of the wild meat trade to online, that's what is new in this study.
Well, let's speak about this wild meat market. There are parts of West Africa that enjoy wild meats as delicacies, but why is it so significant to look at the wild meat trade and consumption?
Thank you very much for this question. I would start by saying um, wild meat is part of daily life in Western Central Africa and is mostly the main source of protein for rural people in uh, remote areas for decades. But now, what is striking is how this wild meat consumption is moving online and then attracting new consumers like citizens, like urban consumers, and scaling up the demand. That's what is changing.
So, when we speak about wild meats, what kind of animals are we speaking about, and why is this concerning for wildlife conservation?
Um, when we speak about wild meat, is often like wild animals that are hunted and sold for meat, often mammals, birds, reptiles that people usually kill or hunt for protein source or source of revenue. That's what we usually call bushmeat. And in Western Central Africa, this is part of our daily life. Is like a cultural thing.
Mm-hmm. Let's talk a little bit about that phenomenon you noticed with other researchers, Patrice. The fact that now wild meat is starting to be sold online. Could you elaborate what's happening there?
Yeah, thank you. The thing is like TikTok and other social media platforms are growing rapidly in Africa and are highly visual, making them a powerful tool for sellers to reach a huge audience, particularly among young people. In our study, we just screened 80 videos, and we found like there are more like nearly 1.8 million people who visited these videos. And on these videos, we saw like some had more than 200,000 times views. So this is showing how online trade has a potential to scale up the wild meat trade.
Mm-hmm. And on what kind of platforms are people looking at selling this type of wild meat, and why are they going on these platforms?
Usually, people use like platforms like there was YouTube. There was a study about YouTube before. There was another one about Facebook, and now this is the recent study is about TikTok. And we can easily see like people are moving online because it's easier for them to reach to a wider audience than what a local market or roadside market can do. And it's easier for them to showcase carcasses that can attract people because these platforms are more they are more visual.
Yeah. You mentioned the numbers. Of course, you did say this has been a market that's been taking place in many parts of West Africa for a very long time. But when you go onto platforms like TikTok, some of them with 200,000 views and more, that means that the market itself has become larger and it's growing. How does this impact wildlife conservation?
Yeah, the the market is growing, is reaching more people, like a wide audience. So this has implication for conservation in terms of the demand. Now many species are under threat, they are under pressure, and when the demand is growing, that we are impacting more on these species, and not
Yeah.
only the conservation implications itself, is also about the zoonotic risks, the disease risks, because handling, consuming, or eating wild animals can bring in some health risk and animal welfare issues also. Those are the things that we can highlight.
All right, we need to take a short break, Patrice. This is quite worrisome, but also there are legal implications to a trade like this. We'll continue to speak a little bit more about both the legal but also the wildlife implications of this wild meat market in West Africa and it being marketed on social media platforms like TikTok. We're speaking to Patrice Assou, research assistant and volunteer lecturer based in Togo, to chat to us about the findings of their study with wild meat being sold online on platforms like TikTok in West Africa. Stay with us.
Africa Update on Channel Africa with Lulu Kabu.
Mozambique's opposition leader Venancio Mondlane has been charged with incitement to terrorism and disobedience. He faces a total of 5 charges. The charges relate to post-election violence that left hundreds of people dead. What punishment is he looking at?
The most severe charges are 2. One is incitement for terrorism, and also is being charged for mobilizing people for terrorism during the protests. These charges are really serious and severe. If he is condemned, is found guilty, he could serve 10 years plus years in jail, meaning that he would be banned from political participation, mainly for the 2028 and 2029 electoral cycle.
The director of CDD, the Center for Democracy and Development, Adriano Novunga.
Africa Update with Lulu Kabu, 12 to 1 p.m. Central African Time. Keeping you on the know and on the move.
Hey, let's keep things going right here on Channel Africa. You're listening to us on DSTV Channel 802, OpenView 628, and on www.channelafrica.co.za. Remember, we're also on digital platforms, and we're also on YouTube Live. You can see us in studio there, and let us know what you think about the subjects we're talking about, but also let us know where you are listening to us from. We're speaking about an intriguing study that has looked at how TikTok's online wild meat sellers are actually out there, and it's alluding to endangered species being on offer in West Africa. And we have a great conversation right now with Patrice Assou, who's been a part of this study, and it's an intriguing one because it's a balance between what is seen as traditionally normal in many societies and communities, but it's going on online, whereby there's maybe different views on wild meats, but what does it also do for conservation? And our guest is a research assistant and volunteer lecturer based in Lomé-Togo. Patrice, let's talk a little bit about that, because what have you noticed as the issues that are happening online and the conversations that are happening online? Because some of these wild meats are not seen as mainstream in many other countries in the world.
Yeah, What is really surprising in this study is the scale of engagement and diversity of species that involve. We also realize that there is a engagement with people, a lot of audiences in the comments, and then some are even requesting for animals that are not shown in the videos, like lions,
Wow.
leopards, and primates, which raises like a concern about illegal and unregulated trade online.
And do you get any clues that are interesting in terms of how the market operates in terms of the selling and buying?
Yeah, we didn't really looked into it, but when we looked at the videos and the comments that are going around, we see like this is more interesting people, because we didn't do like this sentimental analysis in a proper way, but we just compared like negative comment, positive and neutral comment, and we found like positive comments were more higher than negative and neutral ones.
Yeah.
But we didn't go deeper in the sentimental analysis.
Could you get a clue on why there's such a big interest and why it is growing? Is it because maybe we as Africans think maybe we're the only ones in the world to have a big interest in wild meats? Maybe this is an indication that it's not just an African phenomenon.
Yeah, I can just say like what drive people or what encourage people in this kind of activity or sale of wild meat is about there is some part of culture that I said already, because wild meat is daily life in rural areas where there is no alternative of protein source. But actually in cities where there is alternative, there are people who are still want to eat or to have wild meat. So this is some part of culture and also the taste. And for those who are selling, is about finance, is about money. So these are the drivers that are encouraging or are still maintaining this kind of activity. And now is moving online because they want to reach more wider audience and then attract more get more benefit from it. That's what I can say about that.
Well, obviously, local communities, Patrice, play a huge role in this. And it's the same local communities that have been in this market that are now taking the market online. But because of conservation issues that are now, being spoken about through research like your own, how can the same local communities try and combat this wildlife trade while also ensuring their own sustainability and their livelihoods?
Yeah, I think like engaging local communities in solution is a good idea. This can be done through education programs, alternative protein source, livelihood diversification, and community-based conservation initiatives that can help reduce the reliance of local community on wild meat while ensuring the sustainable livelihood. That's what I think about this kind of question.
Yeah, as we wrap up, I mean, what are your conservation concerns and the issues around health risks related to this particular trend?
You know, in our study, we observed that threatened species like pangolin, the buffon cob antelope, are publicly advertised online. The finding highlights how social media can have significant negative impacts on conservation and the long-term survival of the system, the species. Other studies also show that hunters in Western Central Africa have reported decline in the availability of many species such as bushbacks, duikers, pangolins, porcupines that were captured for bushmeat over the past decade. But aside from the conservation implications, there is also a major risk about health issue due to the potential for the zoonotic disease transmission and the lack of biosecurity, typical of traditional African bushmeat, that's also highlighted by previous studies as increasing concern pathway for disease transmission in the recent decades. And bushmeat from African wildlife, particularly primates, rodents, has been highlighted as a source of zoonotic disease or pathogen as for bushmeat-related activities, which have been linked to numerous emerging infectious outbreak like Ebola, HIV, SARS. And there is, beyond that, we also think about the animal welfare, how these animals are killed, and so those are the things that are the concern that we highlighted in the study.
Well, Patrice, thank you for joining us on this conversation. Very intriguing trend indeed. Thank you for giving us your time.
Thank you very much, and very appreciated.
That's Patrice Assou, who is helping us on that one, looking at the trend of TikTok's online wild meat sellers there, and very, very interesting and a very alarming trend happening there in the continent. He's a research assistant and volunteer lecturer based in Lomé-Togo.